Okay, so let's get started with our Inky transitions. If you haven't done so already, create a new project or open Ink Transitions Start. Let's get stuck in. So composition, new composition. Let's call this bleed middle, 1920 by 1080, 25 frames per second, and this time the duration should be 10 seconds. Let's create a new solid with the shortcut Command Y or Control Y if you're on a PC. And let's make this white for our background, and let's call this BG for short. We do need another solid layer, so come to Layer, New Solid, and let's make this one black and call it Ink. So with the ink layer selected, let's create a shape with our pen tool, but make sure to close the gap in all these points. With the ink layer selected, double tap M to reveal the mask expansion, which is down here. Make sure your time indicator is at the very beginning of the composition, and click a keyframe and then drag this into negative until it vanishes. Then grab your time indicator and drag it to 5 seconds. Now grab this and drag this all the way until it fills up your screen completely. Okay, done. Oh no, I think there's a little bit there. It's gone now. Okay. So what we can see here is we created a shape that expands from a white screen to a black screen. And I'll show you what we do with those in the main part of the tutorial. So for now, let's finish off these ink transitions. The edges here need to be a lot more grungier, and we'll be using roughen edges for that. So type roughen and grab the roughen edges and drop that onto the ink layer. As you can see, it's already had an effect on the edges of our shape here. If I turn that off, you'll see it's a bit more obvious. So the edge type, we want to change that to spiky. You can have an explore if you look at the others like Rusty, but spiky is the one that we really need. There are quite a few different types, but spiky is definitely one we want to be using here. So expand the border, let's drag this. Let's just type 55 to get the look we want. Okay, so edge sharpness, you can go really sharp, but I don't think that's the look we need here. We need it to be a little bit softer on these edges, a little bit more natural, so let's go for 2. And I believe that's our first transition done. Nope, we need to fix this problem here, and we can do that quite quickly and simply. So let's select our ink layer, hit S for scale. And I'm going to take this up to 104% in my example here. Okay, so that's that one done. Let's create another couple. So in your project panel, go to bleed middle, hit Command D. And let's call this now bleed from left. Double click bleed from left. Go to the beginning of your timeline and let's grab this mask and double click it so you can see this bounding box. Make sure you've got this selected so you can actually see your mask. Drag this till it's half on and half off of your scene, and let's expand the size a lot more and you'll probably start seeing the ink come back. So let's go to 50% view so we can see the whole thing. And this is what we want to see. We want to see it bleeding from left to right. As you can see, we've got to fix it a little bit more. So let's drag this a lot more and let's give it more of a curved edge. Okay, so select the layer again and hit MM to see the mask expansion. Let's take it right down. Let's reduce it until it's all gone completely. We might need to go back and tweak things a little more. Let's have a look. It kind of works. It's just this bit here. I want this to start off a bit more off screen. So I'm going to make a few more tweaks to these mask points here, and then I'm going to scale the layer up. We might need to make that 6 seconds if it's moving too fast. If it's a little bit too quick, we can just change it to 6 seconds. If you wanted to do a bleed from right as well, we literally just have to rotate the layer. We can just rotate the render once we have it. So what we want now is a bleed from top, which once it's made, you can also make it a bleed from the bottom just by rotating it. So go to bleed from left and let's duplicate that. And let's make that bleed from top. Double click it to go into the composition, and let's just delete that mask and scale that layer back down to 100. Let's go back to the effects and hide roughen edges for now. Let's build our mask here. Turn roughen edges back on. Let's drag this. Scale up a little bit so we don't see these little white bits anymore. Let's reveal our mask again. Hit MM and subtract all the way out until it's completely gone. Let's go to 5 seconds to make sure. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to drag this down. I might be wrong though. Let's actually make this slightly larger. Scale, I'd say let's just put 110 just so that you know for sure. And now we have our bleed from top. Alright, so let's add these to the render queue. The reason why I'm going to add these to the render queue and render them out now instead of just have them inside After Effects is because it will reduce render time overall. After Effects won't have to do any of the extra calculating for the roughen edges or the mask. It's just going to save us time overall is basically the reason why. Render these in the format that suits you. AVI, MP4, MOV will all be fine. The file size should be relatively small, and once you've got these rendered, I'll see you in the next part.